Hey there, welcome to College Tutor. Today our topic will be computer booting. Let's dive into the lesson.
Welcome to the world of computers. Today, we are going to explore a fundamental process that happens every time you start your computer, booting. By the end of this lesson, you'll have a clear understanding of what booting is, why it's important, and how it works. What is booting? Booting is the process of starting up a computer and preparing it for use. When you turn on your computer, it goes through a series of steps to load the operating system, the OS, and make the machine ready for you to use. Think of booting like waking up in the morning and getting ready for the day. Just as you need to follow a routine to get ready, your computer needs to follow a specific sequence of steps to start up properly. Booting is essential because it sets up the computer's environment and makes sure everything is in order before you start using it. Without this process, your computer wouldn't know how to interact with you or run applications. Booting ensures that the hardware, physical components, like the processor, memory, and hard drive, are correctly initialized. The operating system is loaded and ready to manage tasks and applications. Your files and settings are accessible. The power on self-test, POST. When you turn on the computer, it first performs a POST, which stands for power on self-test. This is a diagnostic process where the computer checks if the hardware components, like the processor, memory, and hard drive, are functioning properly. Example, imagine POST, which stands for power on self-test, as a quick health check. If everything looks good, the computer proceeds. If something is wrong, you might hear a series of beeps or see an error message. Loading the bootloader. What happens? After POST, the computer looks for a small program called the bootloader. The bootloader's job is to load the operating system from the hard drive or another storage device into the computer's memory. Example, think of the bootloader as a librarian who finds the right book, the OS, and brings it to you. Initializing the operating system. What happens? The bootloader loads the operating system's core files into the computer's memory. The OS then begins to initialize various system components and start up necessary services. Example, this step is like setting up your desk with all the tools you need for the day, such as a computer, papers, and pens. Loading user settings and preferences. What happens? Once the OS is up and running, it loads your personal settings and preferences, such as your desktop background, saved files, and installed programs. Example, this is similar to organizing your workspace with your favorite items and settings so that everything is ready for you to use. User login. What happens? Finally, you are prompted to log in. The computer verifies your credentials and then allows you access to your user account. Example, logging in is like entering your office with a keycard. Once you're in, you can start working. Examples of booting in action: desktop computers. When you press the power button on a desktop, you'll see the POST screen, followed by the manufacturer's logo, and then the OS loading screen, like Windows or Mac OS. After a few moments, you reach your desktop where you can start working. Laptops go through the same booting process but often include additional steps, like checking the battery status. After powering on, you might see the laptop's logo and then a login screen. Smartphones and tablets, mobile devices also boot up, though the process is usually faster. When you turn on a smartphone, you'll see the manufacturer's logo, followed by the OS loading screen, and then prompted to unlock your device. The booting process can be broadly categorized into two types: cold booting and warm booting. 1. Cold booting, hard booting. Cold booting occurs when you start a computer that is completely powered off. This type of booting is like waking up the computer from a deep sleep. It involves the full initialization of all hardware and software components. Example, imagine you shut down your computer last night. When you press the power button in the morning, you're performing a cold boot. The entire system starts from scratch, checking all hardware components and loading the operating system from the beginning. 2. Warm booting, soft booting. Warm booting happens when you restart a computer that is already on. This type of booting is faster because the computer doesn't have to completely shut down and start again. It reboots without turning off the power. Example, suppose you're using your computer, and it starts acting up. You decide to restart it to fix the problem. This action is a warm boot, where the computer restarts the system without completely shutting down. To sum up, let's review the entire booting process. Cold booting starts the computer from a completely powered off state, while warm booting restarts an already running system. When you initiate either type of boot, the computer first performs the power on self-test, POST, to check its hardware components. Next, the BIOS or UEFI initializes, setting up the basic instructions for the booting process, including determining the boot order. The bootloader then takes control, deciding which operating system to load and starting the process. The operating system then loads into memory, setting up all the necessary files, drivers, and services. Finally, you reach the login screen, where you enter your credentials to access the computer, completing the booting process. Conclusion. Understanding the booting process helps demystify what happens when you press the power button on your computer. Whether it's a cold boot or a warm boot, each step plays a crucial role in getting your computer ready for you to use. From the initial hardware checks in POST to the final login screen, the booting process is a well-coordinated sequence of events that ensures your computer starts up smoothly and efficiently. My name is Peter. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos like this one. Thank you.